And she could have done all of these things. She could have went to a meeting. She could have used all of these tools, and instead she decided to use, and then she came to court drunk.
Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I want to introduce you to a new judge. Her name is Victoria Shackelford. She's from Michigan's 23rd District Court. I don't think I've done a video of hers before, so she's new for me, and she's got a woman in her courtroom who just will not stop drinking. And she gets very flustered with this woman because she just won't quit. But I'll let you guys be the judge. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Your Honor, James Gazicki on behalf of Michelle Miller. Your Honor, state your name, please.
Michelle Miller.
Now, Ms. Miller's had the opportunity to go over advice of rights and has no questions on this. She's here in a violation. She is going to enter a plea of guilty. Wish to address the court prior to sentencing, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Miller, did you go over this 2-page program advice of rights form?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
And did you sign and date the second page of it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Nope.
No.
It's not signed and dated.
I'm sorry.
But if you, Mr. Zicki, if you can get her to go over that real quick. Morning.
Yes.
That's up here.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kazicki. All right, Ms. Miller, you understand you have a right to an attorney. If you couldn't afford one, we'd appoint one. You have Mr. Kazicki appointed. You understand all that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand you have the right to a hearing if you wanted a hearing.
Yes.
Yep, and you understand at that hearing, you'd have a right to see, hear, and question all witnesses against you. You'd have a right to be a witness for yourself or remain silent. If you testified, your testimony would be considered by the same standards as everyone else's testimony. And if you chose not to testify, no one could comment on your refusal to testify. And I would not presume or infer that as any evidence of guilt because you exercise that right. You understand that?
Yes.
And you understand you have a right to be proven innocent or to be presumed innocent until you're proven guilty by a preponderance of the evidence. It's a probation violation hearing, so that's 51%. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You also have a right to call witnesses to speak for you at trial or at the hearing, and I would sign a subpoena to get them here if that was needed. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The allegation, Ms. Miller, is that you tested positive for alcohol and had a PBT at 0.07 on August 9th at 9 a.m. And you tested positive for alcohol and had a PBT of 0.06 on August 9th at 9:04 a.m. And that you admitted to drinking on August 8th. How do you plead?
Guilty.
And you understand you'd be waiving the right to the hearing if I accept that plea. There will be no hearing of any kind.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to accept the plea as knowing and voluntarily given.
Your Honor, what I'm going to say to the court is not an excuse for her conduct, but I just want the court to know it's something that apparently is beyond her control. On the day of the incident, or the day prior to being tested, her daughter was rushed into the hospital for surgery. That was just another straw on the camel's back. She reports in the last 2 months she's been trying to evict her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend from her house, because of his negative conduct. She's facing a foreclosure. Everything's just been overwhelming on her. She doesn't want to be, or she's asking the court if the court would reconsider about removing her from the sobriety court. She realizes she does need help. She was in rehab last fall and seemed to be doing very well until the end of May, when all these problems started multiplying and she had the trouble of coping with it. Yeah, her 93 days in jail. I'm asking the court to reconsider that. Maybe some sort of rehab program. would help her out better. That's all we can say. It's not like a deliberate violation where, some people come into this court and they don't have any reason. They just decided they want to drink.
Yeah.
She's got situations she can't cope with, and she needs some sort of guidance and help, and begging the court for it, Your Honor.
Here's the problem with Miss Miller, and this is very difficult. This is a tough hearing for everybody in the room right now, or at least her and I and Miss Havner. Miss Miller has this case back from 2021. She was originally on standard probation, and she kept drinking on standard probation. She'd never been in trouble before, so that was indicative to everybody involved in the case that she probably needed an elevated level of treatment. So she was brought into treatment court. When she was brought into treatment court, she continued, we had her in an IOP, which was a level of care that the therapist thought was appropriate, and she started escalating. She was not just using alcohol, she started using crack. So then she we did everything we could right away, and everything I am saying is true, and you know it.
Yeah.
We did everything we could right away to get her better treatment. She got a bed in Naomi's Nest, and went to Naomi's Nest for inpatient residential treatment. She was in for how long, Ms. Havner?
45 days.
Yeah, it was a long, I mean, it wasn't like she was in for 7 days for detox. She stayed in 45 days. She came out, she was gonna hit the ground running. When did she get out, Ms. Havner?
It was sometime in January that she went immediately into IOP.
Yeah, and then we got her immediately into IOP. So she's now done 45 days inpatient, second bout of IOP. She's learning all of these coping skills. I mean, that's what they go there for, right? You're learning all of these different ways that you can react to stressful situations or triggering situations besides use. We got her into peer recovery. She was in IOP. She continued to use.
Then a month
She
after,
finished IOP the second time.
Correct.
And then went to standard, right? She was just seeing her therapist every week, going to group every week, right, Kelsey?
Correct.
Correct me when I'm wrong. And then she started using crack again.
cocaine, yes.
Well,
Yep.
okay. And then she had a violation for that in May. She didn't show up for testing in June. She missed IOP in July. She had 2 positive cocaine tests in May after completing a second round of IOP.
Yes, this was within a month of completing, and at that time we put her back into IOP
So
again.
she's now in her
currently in IOP.
3rd round of IOP. So she's currently in treatment 3 days a week, plus she sees her own therapist, right?
Once a week, correct?
Once a week. Do you go to that group once a week too?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You see Sarah still?
Yes.
So she's got a peer recovery coach. You go to her meeting
Yes.
and you go to AA a couple times a week. So, I mean, other than jail, there's nothing else I can do for Miss Miller. Miss Miller doesn't get we just heard this lady speak at Families Against Narcotics at an event, this opioid awareness month. Beaumont put something on. What was her name? Tiffany Jenkins. And she's in recovery, and she talked about being in recovery, and she said she did 2 inpatient stints. The first one she did it because the government told her she had to avoid jail. And she went through the motions, she did what she had to do, and she got out. The second time she did it, she had completely hit rock bottom, and she knew she needed to change. And that's when she quit using. And Miss Miller, I don't know where rock bottom is, but she's not in this program. It's clear to me she's not using any of the resources we've thrown at her because she just continues to have use violations. She has all of these tools. All of these people she could call. She knows she could come sit in the court if she wanted to. She could call Kelsey. She could call her peer recovery coach. She could call her therapist. She could call one of the 15 girls in our peer group, in the women's group that I know she has relationships with. And she could have done all of these things. She could have went to a meeting. She could have used all of these tools, and instead she decided to use, and then she came to court drunk. knowing full well she's gonna, I mean, she's still drunk from the night before.
You know,
Like,
that could be another cry for help. You know, I know that there, lecture that you heard, the lady went 2 times to IOP. You know, this may be her rock bottom, and it'd be a shame to give up hope and to throw her in jail, just throwing her to the wolves. Also, Your Honor, if I could just mention, if the court is going to incarcerate her, if she could have a startup date. She's got 2 minor children at home, and the child's father is finally doing something. He never supported him, but he's filing for custody. So she does have to make arrangements for those 2 minor children.
yeah, the problem is with keeping her in any capacity is we don't have time. Like, she's gotta have, we have phases in the program. She's in phase 2.
Right.
So she just had a violation. So now it'd be 90 days without a violation before she could go to phase 3. And then she's supposed to do how long in phase 3, Ms. Havner?
Minimum of 3 months.
A minimum of 3 months. And so that altogether is 6 months that we need. And how long do we have her?
Until January 5th, so about 5 months.
We don't have time for her to graduate. We don't have time for her to finish the program.
And if they're successful during that time, they'll be well worth it though.
And that 90 days is also guaranteed that there is no further violations or use violations. So it's not even a guarantee to advance within 90 days.
You know, I know I'm not actively involved in sobriety court, but my understanding is incarceration for long terms really does not help in addiction.
It doesn't, but neither does keep helping and helping and helping someone who doesn't want help. Like, at some point, it's like I'm just screaming off a mountaintop. She's not listening. She's not taking advantage of any of the resources. I just don't see the point in it. And it's heartbreaking and it's so sad. And Miss Miller's been with us for a long time, and it's like we start to see her make progress and then she reverts right back. And she's reverted right back to the point where I don't know if I can keep her. And I don't think she's expecting this. I think she thought she could use, and it was gonna be like all the other times. But now time's running out. And if she's not learned anything yet, I don't know that she's going to.
Yes, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, Judge. I mean, you know, they say incarceration is not gonna help, but clearly recovery is not helping her either. She did reach out to her peer recovery coach that day, but she didn't even talk to her about wanting to use or about to use. So, I mean, if she's not gonna take the step further to tell people, hey, I'm at my rock bottom, this is what's going on, I don't see how much else we can help her if she's not utilizing her tools to the best of her ability.
Your Honor, today's not an eye-opener for Ms. Miller. Nothing would be. And the court still has time to keep her in the program. And, you know, down the road, you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you can still throw her in jail for 90 days.
Ms. Havner, didn't she just do 5 days in county on her last violation?
She did 4 days, Judge.
In Wayne County Jail. Look at little Miss Miller. She, if 4 days in Wayne County Jail, and then how long she been in now?
5. So she did 4 days in Wayne County Jail in May, and the same day that she came out, she used cocaine.
She used.
I'm sorry, it was 2.5 days I was there.
Okay, so 2.5 days later, and she got right out and used, so that didn't work. And then she's been in for 4 or 5 days now.
That sort of supports the argument that the jail doesn't help in addiction.
Yeah, what, right, but neither does therapy in Miss Miller's case or any of the other tools we're giving her, she keeps using anyway.
She had a couple months there where she was sober and no violations.
I mean, when we're 18 months along and she's still not using her resources, I mean, that's very alarming.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, these should be proximate goals. Like, these should be things that she's able to do. I don't know, Miss Miller, I can't see any.
And I did put the minor children's father on the consent form, so I can call him following this hearing and arrange contact.
You'll love that.
For the children, so the children will be fine.
This
And then
is
the other 2 are adult children.
I'm sorry. It's an individual who barely supported the children, and now he's trying to seize on his opportunity. But
It is what it is.
It is what you made it.
Yes.
It is, it's
Yes.
what you made
Yes, Your
it,
Honor.
Miss Miller. This isn't, it is what it is.
No.
This is your reality because you created
Yes,
this
ma'am.
reality.
I apologize for saying that.
I mean, this is, you know, is it good for the kids, for the ma to be, you know, doing crack and coke and
No.
drinking when she's looking at all this jail time? these are rhetorical questions. I mean, we all know the answer. All right, I'm gonna call this other matter. Miss Miller can just sit for a minute. That's according to the guidance center. Like, they can't think of anything else other than 3 stints in IOP and a residential that would help Miss Miller, you know, learn some coping mechanisms or deal with whatever trauma she has, you know, and this is still her first response, even with everything that we've provided. I'm gonna give her some credit for the time she's been in the program. I'm sorry, Kelsey, I lost your paper. Ms. Miller, you can still do this on your own when you're ready. If you continue down this path, I'm confident I'll see you again.
I don't want to be like this anymore.
What?
I don't want to be like that anymore.
All right. I'm gonna give her 80 days. Credit.
Startup date?
11. No, start now.
Well, you know, I think when the judge gets so flustered when she's tried everything to help this woman, she's given her chance after chance after chance, and she's just escalating it all. She's drinking more. Now she's on crack, and she's probably going to try trank next. That's the stuff that eats away at your skin. But, you know, a court can only do so much, and then it's jail, and that's what she got. She's going to end up getting a lot more jail time in her life, I have a feeling. Hopefully they can keep her from killing someone on the road. Hopefully. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.